This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro. This is Matt Conrad.
And this is Mike Tobin.
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint.
Today we'll be chatting with Marc Wilson, owner and operator of Tartan Coffee Co., and what it was like bringing his business dream into reality. Thank you and happy listening.
Marc Wilson.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming. So we have Marc Wilson here. He is a friend of ours. However, he is the owner of Tartan Coffee Company. And I've known Marc for a very long time. When we were talking earlier, we screwed up the math. But it's like something like 20 years.
It's more than 15 years.
It's more than 15 years. We've known each other since we've been 15 years old. Our friends kind of know me as a beer guy, but honestly, up until a couple of years ago when Marc first told us about this, I didn't know Marc was really a coffee guy to this degree. So, yeah, Marc, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you became a coffee guy?
Yeah, so it all stemmed. I started back in 15 years ago. Probably 10, 12 years ago. I was working in the trades, and I got into just needed something to pick me up. I was drinking some Tim Hortons coffee, Robin's coffee, lots of cream and sugar, stuff that, was more like coffee flavored Kool-Aid. Wasn't interesting. Yeah. And then kind of COVID hit, and I started going down rabbit holes of latte art because it looks cool. So I was like, hey, I can do that with coffee. I carve pumpkins that are cool. Why not, right? So, and that's kind of what caught my eye. And then I got into espresso and realized there's this whole world of coffee that's like wine, right? Yeah. Like you think, hey, I'm going to go get this, wine's so sweet, gross, whatever. And then you get into all the different layers of it. Coffee's the same way. And I had this idea for a mobile cafe that I'd like to do. I thought there was a need for it. And during COVID, we just, like I said, I went down that rabbit hole and learned more and more about coffee. And I was experimenting with my little espresso machine that I kind of bought. It was a little Breville.
So a mobile cafe. Just tell us real quick about the setup.
Yeah,
I think it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so the mobile cafe, it's a 10-foot trailer that I had custom built in Ontario by a company called Nomad Custom Trailers. Fantastic company if you're looking at renovating a trailer or anything. Check them out, Nomad Custom Trailers in Hamilton. I sent them what I wanted. So I wanted wood countertops. I wanted to look kind of like a cafe inside. And have nitro cold brew taps coming out of the counters, have the built-in fridges, sinks, everything I needed, and a generator. And then they built it. They built it from the ground up, and it looks like a little cafe inside. Obviously, you can't sit in it. It's only a 10-foot trailer. We won't let you in.
Yeah,
it's always full.
No.
And that's what it was. And I had this idea, and my wife kind of eventually was like, either do it or shut up about it.
Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, we're done. And I kind of teamed up with just us, and things started rolling. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so kind of going back to there, to the whole Tim Hortons days and things like that. So I kind of know where that comes from a little bit because, obviously, known your dad a long time, and so I think in my adulthood, where I saw your dad the most was at Tim Hortons. He was like,
he had a VIP seat.
Seriously,
I think he filled some of the potholes too. He's in there just helping out for coffee.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And so realistically, what was that like? How was it like to convert your dad over to the craft of coffee?
Yeah, so like you said, Dad loved Tim Hortons. He was 2 cream, 1 sugar kind of guy for 30 years. So I remember when I was a kid, Christmas time, Tim Hortons was the only thing open on Christmas morning. Right. And he made us, we weren't allowed to look at our presents until he went and got a Tim Hortons coffee and came back. And we would be sitting there I want to see my presents, and Dad's at Tim Hortons. I want to take a peek. But
so your dad used to make you wait?
Yeah, he used to make
get
us
his
wait.
Coffee?
He used to make us wait.
That's awesome.
Lights off in the living room, weren't allowed to see anything.
That's a boss move.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, control. Yeah. and it made it just even more, more fun for Christmas. But yeah, so, like Dad loved it, and Dad was sick, like you guys know. He had cancer, and for the last year of his life, COVID was going on too. So he would come down to my house. I was working from home. I couldn't go visit customers, so I had some time. And this is when I was experimenting with espresso machine, and I wouldn't make him a latte. He wasn't into that. But so I would make Americanos for him. And at first he was like, "Oh, this isn't Tim Hortons," putting cream and all that stuff in it. And then eventually I got him in just Americano with a little bit of cream. So he's almost drinking it black. And he stopped going to Tim Hortons for the last couple months of his life. And he just, like, my slogan is coffee enjoyed.
Right.
And that's kind of where it comes from. Spending some time with my dad. Like, I spent almost every day with my dad for the last year of his life, having a coffee on the back deck, playing with the dogs, or, some serious conversations we had and some really funny conversations. And, I really enjoyed that time with him, and it all was over a cup of coffee. And that's what we want to provide for our customers, just some happy memories. Like, come on out and, enjoy a walk in the park, walk in the park, take your dogs for a walk. Maybe first date, maybe meet your next significant other in the park.
I can speak to that personally when it comes to, because he is in a park, that's where he's set up, right? So we've had many times where it's like me, my wife, my young son, and we come in, we buy a treat and buy a couple drinks, and we do take a walk in the park. We go play on the playground, and you do bring families together in that regard. Like, we get to spend an hour or two going and having fun with my kid and just enjoying your product.
Right.
So that's the thing, is I love the slogan. Yeah. It's simple, but really well thought out, and it really kind of speaks to it. And kind of speaking to that personal side of things, like, you have a long-term friend kind of working with you, so that must be kind of special too, to have that moment of to work with a close buddy, to have that extra personal side. But it's something I don't know what's it like. It sometimes could be not easy to work with someone so close.
Right. It sometimes, yeah. And the guy that I have working with me, like you said, we've been friends since we were actually 6 years old when we met.
Yeah.
And he's a very different personality type than I am. I'm very kind of scatterbrained, and I just want to just chat with people, and I just want to be in focus with everyone. Like, I just, I'm just a super extrovert, and he's a super introvert, and everything's got to happen in a certain way, like a list. And so we're so far on the end of the spectrums that we work very well together. Right. So, but it also gets him, like, I see him smiling when he's dealing with customers, and like we've got this sweetest lady. She comes every single weekend to our trailer, and she drinks a decaf latte every single weekend, and she always puts 2 Lindor chocolates on her.
No way.
Yeah. On
typical lady.
Yeah,
perfect.
2 Lindor chocolates, and she said, "You guys work so hard, you deserve a treat too." And we just did an event, a spring fair for elementary school, Fleming Heights or Fleming Tower, and she showed up, but the line was like 30 people long. And she was like, she sneaks up, she's like, "Here's your chocolates, guys, but I don't have time to wait in the line. Enjoy your day." And she took off. She didn't even get a coffee. But still brought us a Lindor chocolate. So
it's cute.
You do seem to have a pretty strong following within the community, for being a startup business. And, I mean, obviously you see a lot of the same faces, but have you found week to week that you're seeing new faces as well?
We see a lot of new people.
Yeah.
We have people coming from Mahone Bay, and
wow.
Yeah, I heard your coffee's the best in the city. I'm coming in. I'm like, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if it's the best in the city, but thank you for coming down. We just
that's cool.
We try to keep it. I think it's more we're at a very sweet park, right? And we try to engage. I try to engage with everybody who comes in, whether you're a child or a dog or a full-grown person. It's just fun. We just have fun doing it, and I think that's what brings people back. We see a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Every weekend I see probably 40 new people that I.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do have a lot.
Constantly growing.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about you enjoying it and kind of from a we'll say a hobby type of side kind of thing, but. What was it like really what was it like to switch from taking something that's something you just enjoy as a hobby to making it a business? Because sometimes that can suck.
Right. So far, it's been good, but I have a full-time job, like you guys know, that I work 5 days a week in a very different type of work.
Yeah.
It's not coffee at all. So I've been doing it twice, like on the weekend. So it's kind of like I still only do it two days. And like I said, the people that come, they're so happy. And just we've got the greatest customers, and it's fun. Like we have, it's almost like not work, right? It is busy. I don't even have time to drink coffee on the weekends. But yeah, I don't. But yeah, it's fun. So I enjoy it. But I just recently put my notice into my work, and we're going full time now. And this is going to be my sole purpose now is coffee. Coffee and joy. That's it.
Well, you said a few things there that I actually would like to kind of explore a little bit. But
cool.
the first of all, so juggling a full-time job and opening a business, plus having a baby. So I mean, I know what that's about.
Yeah,
so you're obviously pretty busy. Like,
we opened it when he was 5 weeks old.
What was that like? And on top of that, Sarah must be a saint.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman.
So she
she
had to put up with all of that,
she's
right?
Amazing,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, she's that's it. She's amazing. She puts up with me, and like working 5 days a week with my other job, and then on the weekends, we've lost a lot of weekends.
Yeah.
That we could have gone to Peggy's Cove as a family thing, especially with the baby. But we still enjoy our evenings, and I'm usually off about 2, 3 o'clock on the weekends. But yeah, no, she stamps all my cups. So she helps. So that's some of our social time. We sit around the table, and she stamps my cups, and we have a glass of wine or something. But if she messes up on a cup, I charge her 25 cents. So she's getting really good at it. She doesn't owe me too much money now. But yeah, no, it was definitely an experience to work 5 days a week. Have a young, like I said, we started the business when he was 5 weeks old, and so sometimes tired from not sleeping, but. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. Yeah.
So now you're getting close to the end of working a full-time job and now going 4 or 5 days a week kind of thing. Like, what's that feel like? What's the obviously it's probably a mix of a few emotions, but I
am scared.
Yeah.
Being my own boss, and hoping this is as good of an idea as I think it is, right? And and then now, but this opens me up that the park is where I wanted to open, but now where I'm there 5 days a week, it opens me to do more events, so I can take a few days and go away from the park and still be there enough because like you said, we have a lot of same people coming back, right? Like we've got a nice community built, and I want to serve that community.
Right.
But we're doing a couple events now, like we're getting bombarded with events, which is nice. People reaching out to us, which is pretty cool. We're doing Summerfest and Antigonish, which is going to be 3-day concert. It's
cool.
Super fun. Yeah.
Summerfest, Antigonish.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. So the town sold out. It was really hard to find a spot, but I have a neighbor that is allowing me to stay.
So I got to ask a question.
Yeah. It's all
Tartan Coffee.
Yeah.
So you got your own unique flavor.
Yes.
Different from other coffees.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm asking as less of a
We've
coffee
got our own signature
connoisseur.
blend. Yes, we do.
So how do you select the brand?
Right. So I work with Just Us Coffee. They're the ones that roast all our coffee, and I went with them because they treat their farmers where they purchase their beans like no other company. They pay them very well for their beans, which is more than what a fair trade price is. And they visit these farms. They have actual relationships with the people on the farms, the farm owners, these small farms, which is pretty cool. That's why I went with them. And I went into a cafe once when I was working. I went into the Just Us Cafe down in Grand Prairie, and I was working my other job. I was just getting a coffee, and I saw a guy that I used to play pool with. And he's like, "Hey, Mark, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I work here." I'm like, "You work here?" I'm like, "Cool." And I told him I had this idea for a mobile cafe. He's like, "We need to talk." And I was like, "Okay." And that's how it actually got the ball rolling.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you met a guy at a pool hall.
Yeah, I met a guy at a pool hall, and then I saw him
Cool.
at Just Us, and he's kind of like their business guy. So, and he was like, "We're gonna have a meeting." We had a meeting. All of a sudden, we had this plan.
I remember you, when you told us all about that.
Yeah.
So and that's how it started. And
let's get back to the fair trade thing for a second.
Okay.
So you said it's better than fair trade.
Yeah, so they pay a better wage than fair trade. So.
And explain to people what fair trade is.
Yeah, so fair trade is like a set price where you're supposed to pay your farmers for these beans, and that's where the high quality beans come from, because the farmers are paid well. They have the time to do this. They're maybe a smaller farm. You know, it's not just a big mechanical kind of.
Where in the world are these farms?
All over the place. You can,
Yeah.
you know, they're Costa Rica, there's Indonesia, there's, you know,
Cool.
Peru.
So Just Us works with all these different.
Yeah, a bunch of
places
different
around.
farms. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so, but yeah, back to your question about the special blend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a cupping with Just Us. Cupping is what it's called, trying coffee. So they lay out
Cupping.
a bunch of cups. Yeah, cupping. So you have a bunch of cups laid out. You got different blends or different coffees in the cup, and they pour the same temperature water in all of these cups, and you let it steep for a certain time, and you taste it like you would wine. Conrad is a wine connoisseur, so like you slurp it.
Yeah.
You do that silly little sound, and
Yeah,
then
the
and
thing
you get
my
the
wife
aroma.
hates.
You smell it. Yeah, you smell it. You circle it. But before you take these drinks, you take some spoons, you scoop off the grinds, and you taste them. So we tasted probably 10 different types of coffees that day. And,
10.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So we were pretty. Well, I tasted 10 types of coffees, and I was pretty zinged afterwards. I sped home when I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, no, it was really fun. I found a blend that I like, and that's our custom blend that Just Us makes just for us. I mean, that's kind of funny to play on words, but yeah, and then and get it out of trailer, which is cool. That's where that comes from.
Oh yeah. So where'd you come up with the name Tartan?
Tartan. Well, my background's Scottish, Nova Scotia Tartan, but I didn't really. Yeah, and that's just kind of where it's stuck. It just kind of feels home to me. Like it feels like a home. Like just kind of that name just feels home to me.
I think it's great. I'm going to be honest with you. What I'm more shocked about is that nobody's claimed it already up until this point.
I could, yeah. There is another Tartan. It's not Tartan Coffee. It's like Tartan something, but it's a cafe and it's in Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, it's in
I
Scotland.
found it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like Googling when he was looking at his business like way back when.
And that's the only other one, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. So you know what? Now, that kind of gets me thinking. Like you should reach out to them sometime or something like that and try to do something with them. I don't know, but leading into that a little bit is like similar. You know, we're in a brewery, and
Right.
so
This
you
is
know,
awesome here at Serpent Brewery.
yeah. So
Nice and local. It's awesome. I love it here.
But I know the brewing community is like not everyone gets along completely, but they get along pretty well. They have a brotherhood there, and they get like it's quite collaborative in a lot of ways. Like, how have you found the cafe coffee community?
I think it's a lot like. I feel like it's a lot like the beer community here. Everybody seems to be on good terms. Like there's 4 mobile units now
There's 4 mobile units down there now?
around us. in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Not in your area.
No,
but
not me.
You're not like
no.
competing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we all have gone to each other's mobile units, and
Oh,
we
cool.
all know each
Okay.
other. And when I go, like Cafe Luca, he's down he's downtown.
Okay.
In the new convention center. He's
Right
in a
on.
beautiful spot there in
okay.
the underpass there
Yeah.
at the Rogers Center, and he's I go in, he gives me a free coffee. He come
Oh.
down on his scooter one day, I give him free coffee, and then Drift Coffee come down the other day, and they tried out our coffee, and so it's pretty cool. Like, and we kind of we stay to our own areas. We all have our own niches, and it's really really cool, and we can help each other. So
they have territories. Stay in their own
Territories.
Yeah.
Similar to
Yeah.
those
Little
Turf, yeah.
caffeine deals.
It's like the five mob bosses of coffee company.
Get out my turf,
Yeah.
But no, like if I'm busy for an event,
Yeah.
I send them to somebody else. And
Oh,
say,
really?
I've had people call me from Drift Coffee, said we're busy, but try Tartan.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, so we feed off events too. Like if we're busy, we send it to somebody else.
Makes sense though, because you can only be one place at a time, right?
And the more people drink coffee, the better for all of us.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, no,
And if we
that's how
can,
the brewery looks.
And
at it,
if
too.
people want to support local, what's more local and small business than a cart?
Seriously,
Right?
yeah.
That's as small a business as you get.
But
so.
speaking of that though, like where do you see Tartan in 5 years?
Yeah, so I do have a 5-year goal, yes. I plan that out. I'm not much of a planner, but I do have that.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a small, intimate cafe. Like, not a big old cafe where people, I want something small where you can come up to the counter and chat with the baristas.
Yeah.
Still have that community. It's because I was in Italy, and that's what their cafes are like. You come up, you talk to the baristas, you have your espresso, and you go on with your day. And, the people coming in, they know you. Right, and that's kind of what I want. I want the community, and I want a small little brick and mortar. But I want 2 of these, maybe even 3, still doing events because that's where we started. Right.
So it's interesting you say that because I remember when you and Sarah went to Italy because that was for her work or something, right?
No, we just went.
Was it? Okay, I must be mixing something else
Her
up.
mom rented a villa, and we just.
You just went.
She said, "Get over here."
So I know for me personally, like I went to Europe for the first time when I was 20.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered beer. Like, would you say that really exploded your, like...
It is. That's
where
where espresso
coffee
all
was?
started with me. Yeah, when I went to Italy. And
Espresso started in Italy. What year did you go to Italy?
before COVID. So
Okay.
Yeah, so 2018 maybe?
So that
2019?
sparked the whole thing.
That's how it all. Yeah, and I was drinking espresso before that, kind of at home and stuff. But when I went and saw these cafes in Italy and the community that these little cafes had, that's where it all happened. I loved it. Yeah.
So Marc Wilson, Tartan Coffee, check him out. Check him out online. What's your website? Do you got a website?
Yeah, it's tartancoffee.ca.
tartancoffee.ca. And do you have an Instagram and Facebook? He makes pretty little images of coffee on Instagram. You should really see him. Lovely guy. Lovely little business.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Appreciate this.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cheers.
Cheers, dude.
One more clink.
Cheers.
There you go.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Afternoon Pint. If you have an idea for the show or would like to be a part of it, email us at afternoonpint@gmail.com.